really fantastic to be recognised 2 years on the trot. And this year we won the award for the multi-locational site. Last year was for the most effective communication. So I think that just kind of demonstrates that we've got 156 sites across the UK and Wales, that we continue to maintain that level of communication to a very diverse workforce. And for the awards event tonight to recognise that is fantastic for us. Well, I've already sent some text to the team, as you do, and I've said to the team we've won the award, and the texts are flying back. I think Twitter and Facebook is kind of alive already. So I think everyone is really pleased again, because a lot of people, not just me, but a lot of people put in a lot of hard work, and to have that recognition is just fantastic. I think if you've got that vision that you want to introduce something that's quite unique to your business, and you don't be put off by that, but also more importantly work with a company like Rewards Gateway that can help you think some of those problems through, because you will hit challenges, you will hit problems, you will hit people who go, what's that all about? You just got to believe in the product, believe in the vision and deliver it.
So let's have a warm welcome for Lawrence Cramer. You paid very good attention because Lawrence often runs a competition. I'm not sure if he is. He might do it again.
In fact, well, yeah, we do. And we're going to do it again. What we normally do is, at the start of this, so you have to listen very carefully for about the next 20 minutes, that's all really. I'm just going to take on a bit of a journey about what we've done over the last 4 years, and you'll see a couple of slides in a second. So, and at the end I'm going to ask a couple of questions, and it's kind of just put your hands up really, and if I see your hand go up first I'll say what's the answer. If you get the answer to the question right, you could win, for you and 3 of your friends, colleagues, or whoever else you want to bring along, 2 nights to stay at one of our locations. Now let me just check in first. Has anyone stayed at a YHA location before? Probably as a kid, no? Yeah, good. It's okay to say yeah. Yeah. It's okay to go, yeah, I have really. Where was it? All right, okay. So from that, I take it, is anyone a member of YHA? It's part of the marketing challenge that we've got as well. So this is all about that. So what I'm going to do is at the end of the presentation, whatever slide you see, you might have to make some mental notes or some notes. I'm going to ask 2 questions. First one who gets that will get a prize of 2 nights, bed and breakfast at any location, your choice. I'll tell you which ones to go to as well. Because we've just spent £17 million in the last 2 years on refurbishments. So there's family rooms, ensuite rooms, you don't have to make your own beds anymore. So there's all that stuff. And then I didn't really realise that Glenn was going to do the Kit Kat thing, because I brought along some cups. So at the end of that, we'll do a little fun activity where someone can win one of the YHA cups, and there's a Kit Kat inside, so you walk away with 2 Kit Kats. But you keep yours. Oh yeah, he's eating it, that's okay. So that's your one anyway. So there's 3. There's 3 to go, as long as Glenn doesn't dip into the next ones while he's sitting there. Okay, so a bit of fun at the end as well. So, about us, YHA. Yep, there you go. 84 years been going. Volunteer run for a long, long time. And in 1980 it kind of changed and started to think, well actually we need to be a bit more professional. It wasn't until really around about 2000 when it started to think about being more commercial. I've been at YHA now for about 5 years, and that's why I'm taking on that journey over the last 4 years, which you'll see in the next few slides. But 100, in that clip there it said 156 locations, about 170 locations, because we have enterprise locations as well, which are privately run but sit under our umbrella. And you can see the workforce there. We're very lucky, we have 1,000 volunteers who just give up their time to come and work with us, run some of our locations. We have 150,000 hours of volunteer time that's given to us, which is fantastic, because that certainly helps the payroll bill. And we are still a member organisation, but you don't have to be a member to come and stay. So that's good as well. So I joined in 2009, and we knew then that with the economic situation that we weren't going to be awarding any pay rises for about 4 or 5 years. And that actually happened to be the case. We only awarded a 2% pay rise this year, so none before 2009. So we knew we had to do something different to keep our people engaged. We knew we had to think about something different to keep them engaged, because all we had on offer was, as Ricky said, all we had was pay, pension and holidays. And that was it. And not everyone was in the pension scheme. So we had to think differently. And that was a real challenge for us, because we asked some key questions, where do we want to be? And we wanted to be, not just employer of choice, which is one of our next challenges, but we wanted to be a Times Top 100 company. So that's a huge challenge from where we were. We also wanted to be an Investors in People Gold organisation. Now, lots of history around that, but we said, we'll do that. That'll be the first thing that we'll do. So we set our stall out very clearly, but we also wanted to engage our people along that journey. Believe it or not, for 84 years, it didn't have a strategic vision or themes. It didn't have real values. So we had to start in 2010. We spent most of that year talking to our people, going out into the business, and really asking them, what do they want to do? And out of that came the strategic visions around developing talented people and teams, engaging with our customers, working with young people. And we set ourselves a huge target in our next 3-year plan to connect with, attract 1 million young people by 2017. Huge target. And why do we do that? Because YHA is about giving people that experience, whether it's in a city, in London, or in the countryside of Byre Beach. We have 440,000 children who come and stay with us, so we've got to increase. So that's a huge jump for us to go. And never forget, and listen to Ricky there about, you go out into the business and you start talking to people who've been there for 40 years, 30 years, 25 years, 170 locations, where they've always just done what they've always done. And with no vision to hang on to, they just did what they thought was right. So when we're out there, and I never forget, I was at Borrowdale, a lovely place in the North Lakes. So if anyone wants a prize, Borrowdale's one of my favourites. But I was in this room with Borrowdale with a group of staff, and you're always going to get one. There's a guy sitting in the back of the room with his arms crossed. Body language was, yeah, I've seen this all before. People and he actually said, because I kind of sucked him into the conversation really without embarrassing him, as you've got to be careful. I said, well, tell me about yourself. What do you think? And he went, well, he said, it's all been done before, isn't it? I said, yeah. I said, probably has. Yeah, and people like you, he said, you come and go anyway. I said, yeah, we do. I said, but let me just tell you something. I said, I've only just joined. This was 2 months into the business. I said, I believe in this business and I believe what it's going to do. And we're going to deliver some real key changes. And you need to be part of that journey. Yeah, well, it's not going to happen, is it? So he'd obviously had a real rough time, this guy. He'd probably been given promises before and, usual stuff. He experienced it all the time in HR. So I said, well, look, that's what we're going to do. So you've got some choices. You can either join on and make it happen, or you can kind of sit on the sides and watch it happen. And as time went by, and I met him about 3 months ago, actually, still with us. Has he changed? A little bit. And so I said to him, do you remember that conversation? Yeah, I do, he says. I said, yeah. So it was an interesting conversation, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. I said, and what's changed in your world? Not much. Still the same old stuff. I said, and I kind of looked up the data to see whether he'd logged on. I said, but you do use Rewards Gamer, don't you? Well, yeah, but it's the wife, really. Usual stuff. I said, but you like it, don't you? So I kind of dragged him out a bit more. And he then said, to be honest, Lawrence, he said, I have to say, I was in a bad place at the time. This business is different now. We are different. The message is different. And I'll probably get on board at some point. So it might take another 5 years for him to kind of really engage. But a good example of how you just persevere and keep with it. So what we had to do, of course, throughout that period of 2010 was, how do we engage? Because 170 locations, UK, England and Wales, diverse workforce, some locations with 20 people in, some locations with 2 people in. Not all connected to the internet, because we're up the side of mountains, some of our locations. So we called a big staff conference, and we invited every single person in the business to come along over 2 days, and we did it at Warwick University. And it worked. We did that in February 11, and Reward, Asperity as it was, came along. And we had a 63% take-up, sign-up during that conference, because we'd done a lot of work to get that into place. So we were clear in our minds that the partners that we were choosing were the right partners to take us into the future. And Reward Gateway has been absolutely key to some of the achievements that we've made, and I'll tell you some of those in a second. And Bupa were there as well, and Simply Health were there as well, and we chosen all these key partners. We set out a stall, as I said, and you'll see in a second that we have actually become a Times Top 100 company. So we've achieved what we set out to do, and you'll see why. But over that 3-year period, our people have spent, just shy of £600,000, and into the bargain saved around about £45,000. There's a woman in my team, her account is at £950. I don't know what she spends it on, but she spends it on loads of stuff. And I bumped into her in Sainsbury's at 8 o'clock on Wednesday. I can't remember why I was there, but I was there buying some stuff. And she said, and she had a reloadable card, and I was like, I said, I haven't got one of those, what do you do? So I said, right, I need to sit with you, I need some lessons. But real ambassadors, so what we do with our people, and you'll see on some of the leaflets there, is that we use our people as ambassadors to tell the story. There's no point in me kind of putting out a brief, oh, HR said this, and we're this, and we're doing that, and you're doing that. Real life stories that people can connect with. It's really important, because that's what their peers will listen to. We do the packs for exec, we do all the usual stuff. We have monthly team briefs, so it's clear out there every month, they can see the headline figure. We get people to tell stories in those locations. So it's really important that you kind of communicate. So when you're thinking about what you do and how you do it, and I picked up some tips today again. Every time I come here, I pick up some tips, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to take away some of that stuff. So we have signed up with Reward Gateway for another 3 years, because we believe in the product and we believe in what they provide to us. And we've also moved our childcare vouchers across the Reward Gateway as well. So, it gives us that kind of bargaining power. We introduced free overnight stays for all of our staff, thinking, would they, wouldn't they? There's been over 7,000 overnights where people have gone and taken their friends, because that's the idea behind it. You take your friend to experience the YHA. So that converts. We've got the cycle scheme. So lots of things that we've done to make that happen. Bupa, we tell our people that actually if you're just on level 1, you can benefit from £655 worth of care. Spirit was another thing that we introduced in 2011. The acronym is Sustainability, if I don't get this right, I'm in trouble, aren't I? Sustainability, passion, innovation, responsibility, inclusivity and trust. And every month, people are awarded an award for one of those categories. And anyone can nominate anyone. So the chief exec can nominate the cleaner can nominate the chief exec for what they see them doing around any of those categories. And then you have a winner of the winners. And next Monday, we're having our own little awards ceremony for the winner of winners of winners. I don't know how you work it all out, but it does. So we're starting to do that much more internally. It's like really acknowledging some of those real winners for the good things that they do. And that's really enabled the engagement process. So, what other things have we done? We've launched and have been doing it very quietly for the last 2 years, an international exchange program. What does that mean? For us, in terms of recruitment, it means that when people come and stay with us, or come and work for us, we say to them, actually, you can come and work for us and you might end up working in another country for a period of time and come back and get paid and get your flights paid and come back. One person didn't come back. I'll tell you about that in a second. In fact, we lost 2 people. One to Rewards Gateway. Now working in their New York office. Matlock, New York, couldn't compete. And she brokered the first deal, actually, with Asperity. Rebecca Bites is her name. Absolutely brilliant kid. And what better place for her to go? So we were pleased to let her go, really. Because if we'd had an she might have even negotiated a better deal this time round, but who knows? It was a good deal. And another girl we sent to New York, it must be something about New York. We sent her to New York to work in the New York hostel for 3 months. She came back for 2 weeks and said, I'm off, and she's gone. We've lost her, she's gone back to New York. So they must have done something about the New York factor, I don't know. So we actually partner up with Spain, Germany and Holland. We've got 12 students coming over to stay with us and work in our locations. We've got 10 people going to go away in the next 2 months, over a period of 2 months, to work in Spanish summer camps, and they're going to work in Holland, Germany and Spain in September and October and reciprocate that. The good thing about that is because we're part of a worldwide location, is that we're already talking to South America, South Africa, New York and Boston as well. So we will generally be talking to those organisations and sending them over. So that helps that engagement piece. It's a bit of a USP, as they call it. Why come and work for us? Because we can offer you this. Why come and work for us? Because we can offer you Rewards Gateway as well. So we set up a People's Forum. That was all part of the kind of engagement piece. And you have to sometimes be careful, because People's Forum can come a bit of a moaning shop. So we don't allow that. I facilitate all the people forums. So the agenda is controlled by me, the agenda is set by me, and it has to be a positive tone. And it's against those 4 strategic themes. So we take a theme each time, and what could we be doing differently? What could we be doing better? How could we operate differently? So they don't get a chance to go, oh, it's all rubbish around here. It's like, take that, turn that into something different. And they really do engage with that. And we had to do the difficult stuff as well. There's no point in shying away from these things. So in amongst all of these benefits that we were given, there was no pay rises. We had to also look at the organisational structure. So we harmonised lots of conditions of employment. There were 123 job titles in the business. There's now 12. You know, we'd introduced job evaluation. You know, we put some money into that, but in the end of the day, everyone benefited from that. So, and we gave 5 days volunteering for anyone in the organisation to say, actually, I want to go off and do 5 days volunteering and work for someone or do something else. Go and paint the school or whatever. Or get on their bike and ride 500 miles like I do. But that's all to raise money. We raise money for our own charity, which is a Breaks for Kids charity. And all of those things that are there that you've just heard about as well. Then, there's always the age-old question. So you're doing all this. Is it having impact? What's the ROI? You know, someone always wants to see some return for some of the investment. And you have to think about that. So in 2011, because it starts in October, the Times Top 100, we climbed 183 places, and we've now entered at number 69 in the Times Top 100 best companies to work for in the charity sector, because they have different categories. So we set out to do that in 2010. We've achieved it within the 3-year period that we said we would do. The contract changes that we put in place in 1 year saved £800,000 without losing any jobs. We just became more efficient in the way we run the business. We achieved Investors in People Gold a year ahead of time. So we just kept pushing. And you'll see the other stats there. If people who like stats, there they are. Okay. I won't ask you a question on stats, so you don't have to write any of those down. Okay. 45 people have now taken part in the exchange program and queuing up to go. Of course, when I mentioned New York and Boston, they're just queuing up at the door anyway. But then you have to think about, so you're doing all of that, and you think, yeah, aren't we doing well? And you're kind of internally communicating that message. But you then have to dip your toe in that wider market. You then have to test yourself against other organisations. And the only way to do that is to kind of just put yourself out there for some awards. Some you win, and some you don't. But that's what we've achieved in the last 4 years, some of those key awards, and proud to be the winner of 3 awards from Benefits Excellence in the last 2 years. We're not going to enter it this year. 3 weeks to go as well, I couldn't do it. We're not going to enter it this year because we've got so much other things we want to do, and we want to come back next year with a new story to tell. So we're going to kind of keep our journey going, you know, enhance what we do much more around engagement, loads more activity. We're creating a new recruitment website. So we want to create that emotional attachment with this organisation from day one. You know, that language around EVP, you know, employee value proposition, emotional attachment from the minute they read the advert about why would they come and work for YHA. So we're doing a lot of work around that. We're working with Rewards Gateway on total reward statements so people can see the real value of what they get, not just their pay. So we're doing a lot of work around that. And in April, it was our 3rd anniversary. And again, Rewards Gateway are fantastic. It came up with the ideas and said, let's do this. And again, the internet went mad because people were going to win some like 10 or 20 quid into their pot. And people kind of going in first thing in the morning, logging on, who could be first on, because it was the first person on that would win. So we won all those awards. So really, that kind of just captures all the work we've done, and everyone that's been involved in it. You know, it just truly sends a good message. When you put yourself in for the Times Top 100, you're against a number of key categories, and they're really interesting categories to go for. My manager, my leader, my team, fair deal, well-being, you know, and you get some real tough feedback. And when we got it in year 1, we got one to watch. We've had some really tough feedback about leadership and managers, and we acted on that. And we got some really tough feedback about fair deal because we weren't given any pay rises. We knew that was going to happen, so we acted on that. So we took all that information and we listened to that. But this is from this year's, you know, just a snapshot of what people are saying. So we know now that they're in a different place and what they think about us. But that doesn't mean to say we kind of go, oh, we've done it. Great. We've got to just keep pushing along and find that next level. So, in summary, you know, entering the awards is one way of just kind of recognising, as you saw on that first slide, how do we know we've arrived? Well, you know, you win an award and that tells you. But I've got a double question mark there because I always question, what more could we be doing? How could we be doing it better and differently? And this, I have to say, and I've not been paid to say this, so I'm just saying it. Rewards Gateway has absolutely been the key driver for the engagement program and the change in YHA. Absolutely key. It comes through in all of the research that we do, all of the data we get back from the surveys, external surveys as well. So there's no doubt about that in our mind, that had we not done that and made those decisions in 2010 and 11, we wouldn't be here today telling you the story. Because you can talk about it internally all the time, but you need to talk about it externally. And that's what we're able to do now. It does motivate people. You know, when I go around the business, and Ricky say that, you know, I've been in HR a long time. I'm not a traditional HR person because I like to be out in the business. I don't like to sit in offices. Create strategy. I was saying to someone before we started, create strategy and plans, but then get out there and do them. Don't spend too much time talking about them. Once you've done it, go and deliver it. Otherwise people won't believe what you say, because they just think it just sits on a piece of paper and there's no energy or enthusiasm behind it. So what next for us? Well, there's the website, there's the TRS, the Total Reward Statement, but we're at good, in my opinion, in the organisation. So we're asking the question now, so what would great look like? And that's about that employer of choice, and that's about that engagement piece. That's about people coming to work with us and staying with us for a long time and challenging us to make change happen as well. So great for us. I don't know what it's going to look like, but it's out there, and we're going to find it, and we're going to turn it into something perhaps we'll come back next year or the year after and say, this is what we've done, and we might win an award for it. So that's the YHA story, and good luck to everyone who's thinking about putting their application in within the next 3 weeks. But if you've got a story to tell, then it's pretty straightforward, really. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Now, 2 questions.
Oh, yeah, questions, yeah.
2 questions.
Questions.
Okay. Watch the arms go up.
I know.
You might have to help me now. You might see an arm that I don't see.
Oh, okay, I'll do the arm spot.
What's the membership of YHA? No. 198. Right. So close. You get one more. Don't get another one to go. Another go. So I'll catch you later for take your details. So I can give you the prize.
What happens at Benefits Excellence Live stays at Benefits Excellence Live.
And I'm a rugby coach and I'm a rugby player, so what stays on tour goes on. Next question. How many locations have we got? Did you get that one?
With this side, I heard from here.
170,
yeah,
yeah, okay,
chest, yeah.
all right. Now, there's a chance then, so I'll get you 2 guys. Oh, that one's gone, that one's gone. So, here's another way of doing it.
I think I ate one of the prizes. Sorry about that.
Here's another way of doing it. Everyone stand up. Okay. Everyone ever played heads and tails? Yeah? So you have to, if you think it's going to be heads, or if you think it's going to be tails. Okay? This is simple. The last 3 people standing will win a cup with another Kit Kat. So, okay, you got to, heads or tails, you got to, okay, no, you're all right, I haven't done it yet. Stand up. Put your hand on your head or your hand on your, okay, it is tails, so all the heads sit down. Tails stay standing. Wow, we've lost a load.
We lost it out.
Right, you can change it. Okay, heads or tails, you can change. No, some people aren't changing. Oh, we might have changed too early. Tails again, heads sit down. Okay. Okay. Man. Heads, tails sit down. So we've got to lose one. Unless we take your cup. Should we?
Yeah.
Should we do that?
Yeah,
I'll give you another one.
Right.
Okay, rather than do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 cups with 4 Kit Kats. There you go. There you go. I'll get you one now.
Is this one?
Oh, yeah.